at Powell Gene, Gene, at yahoo.com. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 629-2440.
Coming this and every second Friday of the month at 11 a.m. is Trinity Healthcare Medical Center with your host, Dr. David Kuhn. Trinity Healthcare Medical Center is Ocala's only progressive primary care clinic. Be sure to listen in and also check their website at thcmc.com. Then call them with your questions at 512-0000. That's 512-0000. That's every second Friday at 11 a.m. for Trinity Healthcare Medical Center here on The Source WOCA.
This is Jan Marino from Palm Garden. So often when you advertise, it's hard to quantify whether your efforts are effective. But I have a success story. In my travels to medical offices, I ran across someone who recognized my voice from the radio and told me that they felt like they already knew me because of my association with WOCA. My message to you, they're out there, they're listening. Truly, radio gets results. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, WOCA, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It is Memorial Day, and so we have a few things prepared. I wanted to share some of them with you. I have a soundbite. This is from Harrison Wright. Harrison Wright is a World War II Army veteran. He was drafted in March of 1943. He was shipped off to Europe. He spent time in England, France, Germany, and Belgium. He played the trumpet in high school, so I think you know from that where this is probably going. He became his battalion's bugle player with the responsibility of blowing taps over the graves of the fallen soldiers. Just days after the war ended in 1945, Harrison Wright was called on to honor all of his fallen comrades on a hilltop in Belgium. When Harrison returned to Europe, he got a job at the Veterans Hospital and stayed there for 30 years. He died in 2015. So here's a little bit from Harrison Wright.
I was an 18-year-old boy, and I blew the bugle in our outfit. If a young man is killed in action or dies defending his country, you blow taps over his grave. And it just, there's no way to describe it. The emotion that you feel knowing that those notes is going out. And I remember the war was over just a few days, and they asked me to blow taps for all who died in the war. We climbed this high hill. It was like a mountaintop. And my battalion was at the bottom. And I blew those taps. And when I did, the men said it floated out across all that valley and said it was beautiful. They were all telling me how good it sounded and what a tribute it was to our fallen comrades.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, man, so chilling.
If you get a chance, go over to the Veterans Park this morning. I'm sure you'll hear
10 o'clock.
Taps being played over there.
Yeah.
We had in our town Les Muncaster, I'm sorry, Les, who was in charge of the Kingdom of the Sun Concert Band. Mm-hmm. He had organized what they call is it called cascading taps?
Yes.
And I hope he does it again. It was a noble attempt, but it was hard to pull off because you needed lots and lots and lots of trumpet and bugle players.
Yeah.
And what he did was he had that. What you just heard right there was an example of cascading taps, where you hear taps followed by taps, kind of starting a few measures into it, or a few bars into it.
Exactly.
And so Les had organized a Cascading Taps presentation that went all the way from the town square in Ocala down Silver Springs Boulevard up to the Veterans Memorial Park.
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago, if I recall.
Yeah, and I remember that day we stood outside because at that time we were broadcasting from the Cascades, and so every 10 yards or whatever, or 10 feet, I think it was more like 10 yards, a bugle player would start, and then the guy to his right, or the lady to his right, it wasn't just men, would begin playing, and there was all kinds of horns because everybody doesn't have a bugle. Some people had trumpets, some people had trombones. And it was really impactful, and I hope that he can do it again one day. It requires finding a lot of people who are willing to do it, who can do it.
Who can do it? Yep.
Exactly. And it was really it really, for some reason, there's something about that series of notes that we call taps that makes you stop and remember the sacrifice that is the ultimate sacrifice for us, so that we have the freedom to do what we do. It's never to be taken lightly. And I'm speaking to the choir, or singing to the choir, whatever they say, with this audience. You guys have taught me more than I'll ever teach you. I'm just here to share. So let me share something else. I have another one. This is Air Force Technical Sergeant Mashery Dunbar. He is a reservist. I'm sorry, she is a reservist. She was deployed in Iraq in 2007 and then again in 2008. While she was overseas, she volunteered for Patriot Detail, which is something, oh my gosh, you have to have you're a special person if you can do this. This is a ceremony for soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors killed in action, in which their flag-draped coffin is escorted to the plane that will take them home. She volunteered for that duty, and so I have about a minute of her talking about remembering that. Here it is.
I did 2 back-to-back deployments, and I used to do Patriot Details, which is when a soldier is killed in action. You line up in 2 columns up to the back of a C-130. You give them a final salute as they're loaded onto the plane. Not that many people showed up to do it. The first time I volunteered for one, I didn't really know what it was. I thought maybe it was just going to be 1 or 2 coffins. But they just kept coming. One after the other. And then another. And then another. I don't know how many I sent home. But someone had to do it. Someone had to send them home. So I volunteered almost every time they needed people after that. Even if I just come off of a 14-hour shift. But then we just move on to the next day. And it's just business as usual.
Appreciated her very much.
Oh my gosh.
The families, I mean, gosh, they had to appreciate her and what the detail did.
Yeah, just something else, huh? The next one is, let's see, Barry Romo. Barry Romo grew up in Southern California in the 1950s. Barry was the youngest in his family. He spent his childhood surrounded by a niece and nephews of similar age. He was close with one of his nephews, especially close. His nephew was Robert, known to everyone as Bobby. During the Vietnam War, Barry enlisted in the Army, and Bobby was drafted, but only one of them came home. Private First Class Robert Romo was killed in action in 1968, and First Lieutenant Barry Romo was asked to escort his body home. Here he tells the story, so you can hear it for yourself from his own voice. Barry is, by the way, still an active member of the group called Vietnam Veterans Against the War. And here are his memories.
Bobby was 1 month younger than me, and we were raised like brothers. I enlisted in the Army to go to Vietnam. That was my intention. And he didn't want to go in the military, but he got drafted anyway. They sent him to Vietnam, and He ended up being in my brigade. I became a lieutenant, and he begged me to help him get out of the field, but I couldn't help him. And my nephew got me out of Vietnam. One day, I got back from a patrol. They told me, your nephew, Robert, has been killed. He was running to save a friend of his who had been wounded in battle, and he was shot in the throat. Enemy fire was too intense, so they couldn't retrieve the body, and he was in the sun for 48 hours. A staff sergeant said, why don't we seal the body permanently? That way your family, they remember him as he looked like when he graduated from high school. I was then sent to escort the body home. I had white gloves on and a uniform with my medals, but I felt dirty. I thought I was going to die in Vietnam, but I didn't have to go back there. I had my ticket punched by my nephew's blood, and I felt that I failed him, I failed my family, and I still feel guilty to this day.
All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back. I do have some more I want to share with you this Memorial Day, and not to take away from the fun and the food and the partying and the picnicking, but this is our way of remembering the important reason that we have a Memorial Day. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. It'll be partly sunny and hot on this Monday, Memorial Day holiday, with a high of 90 at the coast, 97 inland. Partly cloudy Monday night, low 70 inland, 75 at the coast. Tuesday, partly sunny and afternoon thunderstorm in places, the high 90 at the coast, where it should be dry, to 96 inland. For Wednesday, partly sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm around, but dry at the coast, high 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Do you have a gout-ridden toe or bowels that move too slow, creaky knees, or how about an asthmatic wheeze? Then acupuncture is sure to please. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566. That's 352-615-5566.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Share the love this spring with Oak Ridge Dental Care. Oak Ridge Dental Care is having a canned food drive now till June 21st. So the next time you come in to have your teeth checked, just bring in 10 cans with you and you will receive 10% off your visit. Oak Ridge Dental Care is located at 9590 Southwest Highway 200. Call with questions, 414-4952. Please note, offers not to apply towards account balances or dental services already delivered and not in conjunction with any other offers, discounts, or reduced fees plans. Just Google it. Oak Ridge Dental Care. Animas Foundation is the name of the Ocala-based nonprofit sanctuary dedicated to the rescue and rehabilitation of wild and domestic animals. Animas, plainly stated, needs your 100% tax-deductible donation, which will go directly to animal care. This sanctuary is run solely on donations. There are so many questions to answer. Please call 843-6379, and they will explain to you how these creatures that live among us are cared for. Please call 843-6379. Thank you.
Here is your 30-second news brief. The teenager who died after jumping into a quarry north of Ocala has been identified as 18-year-old Zachary Newton. Firefighters battled a brush fire on Merritt Island caused by a static test fire at the Space Center. The Click It or Ticket campaign is in full force. The fine for not wearing a seatbelt is $119 and $169 for not properly securing a child in a safety seat. And University of Florida researchers have created a hybrid mandarin orange that could be good news for Florida growers. And that is your news brief from The Source. All right, 11 minutes before 10 o'clock. Really nice looking day out there. I don't know what your plans are for later on. Hopefully you have something fun to do. In about 10 minutes, you can go attend two different Memorial Day services, one at the Veterans Park, one at the Highland Memorial Park. The one at the Veterans Park is about an hour long. The one at the Memorial Park the Highlands Memorial Park is about 3 hours long, I think.
Yes, 3 hours.
So if I were you, I would, go to the Veterans Park first and then head over there to Highlands, get a free hot dog, take in some music, and have some fun. Right now, we're doing the important part of the Memorial Day holiday, which is to remember the reason for the holidays. I have a story here from Robert Stokely. His son, Sergeant Michael Stokely, served in the Georgia Army National Guard, and he died while serving in Iraq in the year 2005. He died from injuries sustained from an improvised explosive device. Robert, who felt guilty over the loss of his son, decided to travel to Iraq to see the land where his son had died. And here is him recalling that.
While he was in Iraq, at night I couldn't sleep. I used to look at the moon a lot, and I told Mike, when you see the moon, know that 8 hours later I'll see it too, and I'll think about you. August 8th, 2005, he called me. I remember telling him, "Are you still coming home in 2 weeks? I can't take this anymore." He said, "I love you, and I'll see you soon." And those were the last words I heard from him. Mike was struck by a roadside bomb and died there on the side of the road. I felt guilty I wasn't there to hold him when he died and comfort him. I felt guilty I wasn't able to protect him. So I just had to go there and see what this place looked like. I just wanted to see where my son died, and I couldn't live if I didn't go. Our security team picked us up in Amman, Jordan, and we flew into Baghdad the next day. That night, we stayed at a safe house. I sat on the roof for hours, and I just looked at the moon overhead, and I thought, I am 16 miles away. I am so close. I had an engraved piece of marble that weighed about 45 pounds. I just wanted to set it beside the road where my son breathed his last breath. The next morning, we got up very early and we cleared 4 Iraqi Army checkpoints. When we got to the 5th one, it was just so dangerous they wouldn't let us through, and they turned us back. So we were unable to get there. I wanted to kneel where Mike fell and touch that spot. I didn't get to do that. Maybe God had a reason why I didn't go that last mile and a half, but I did get to ride some of the same roads Mike rode. So rather than feeling sorry that I didn't get there, I'm going to be happy I got that close. I got close enough.
We have in our own town, we have a school named after the only Medal of Honor recipient in Marion County, and that is Hammett Bowen Jr. I did not know him. Maury Dean knew him well.
Yes.
If you ever go to an event and Maury Dean is remembering his friendship with Hammett Bowen Jr., it'll move you just as these stories are also moving you. For those who don't know, the little that I do know is that in the Vietnam War, a hand grenade was thrown and it would have killed 4 men, Hammett Bowen and 3 of his comrades. But to protect his 3 comrades, Hammett Bowen threw himself on the grenade.
Yes.
So he took the explosion. The other 3 men lived. The veterans would be Hank Whittier and John Rose and all the guys over at Vets Helping Vets worked really hard to get a school named after Hammett Bowen Jr. I believe there were 2 schools that were built that did not carry the name. And then finally, they were successful in persuading the local officials to name a school after Hammett Bowen Jr. And that
the
is
school board.
That is the school board's, yes. And now it's Hammett Bowen Jr. Elementary School. It is the reason you have a library over there called Freedom Library.
Yes.
It is the reason why those students and the effect of those students learning American history and learning the importance of American history, it really all boils down to the efforts that the veterans made to name a school after a Medal of Honor recipient. I learned my lesson years ago by calling him a Medal of Honor winner. When people chastise me for using the word winner, it's not, you don't win them, you receive them for extraordinary service. So it was Memorial Day or Veterans Day, I can't remember which one it was, where I had made an offer to do a portrait of a veteran. And we had lots of people sending in photographs for me to consider, and we picked one. And it was not of Hammett Bowen Jr. because I didn't know the story. I didn't know anything about him. And I don't even think his picture was sent in, to be honest with you.
No, it was not.
And after we picked one, and it's a great one also, and I know the lady who got it has always expressed her gratitude
Yes,
that I did
she
that.
has. God bless you, Ann.
But somebody else had called and asked if I would do one of Hammett Bowen Jr. and told the story that I just told you. It was the first time I had heard that story. It was way before the school was ever built. And so I did a pastel portrait of Hammett Bowen Jr., and Hank Whittier and his guys presented it to Hammett's father, Hammett Bowen Sr., at the Old Forest High School, which is now MTI. In the auditorium there was a patriotic event, and Mr. Bowen received the
portrait,
the framed portrait. Anyway, years later, when the vets were successful in having a school named after Hammett Bowen Jr., Mr. Bowen donated the drawing that I did, the pastel that I did, to the school, and it now hangs in the foyer there at the school.
Yes.
If you're ever in the foyer of Hammett Bowen Jr. Elementary School, that's the portrait I'm referring to.
Right there at the entrance.
All right, let's look at some others. This one is Army Master Sergeant Roy P. Benavidez. He was a Green Beret. He received the Medal of Honor for his service during the Vietnam War. On his first tour there, he was severely injured by a landmine, and he was told that he would never walk again. But after a year of rehabilitation, he walked out of the hospital and eventually returned to Vietnam for a second tour. That's when he spearheaded a daring rescue, saving the lives of 8 fellow soldiers. In the process, his jaw was broken and he was shot 37 times. His daughter, Yvette Benavidez Garcia, and her husband, Rene, remember the aftermath of the battle. Roy P. Benavidez died in 1998. Here is the audio clip from that story.
The injuries were so severe that they thought he was dead. So they put him in the pile of the dead, and he was trying to muster up enough strength to get this medic to notice he was alive. And all he could do was spit in the medic's face. That's when the medic realized this man's alive. And as a child, I remember sitting in the back seat behind him. All of a sudden, I could see blood dripping from the back of his head. And I would say, "Hey, Dad, your head is bleeding." He would reach back there and literally pull out a piece of shrapnel that was making its way through his skin. And he would just throw it away. You could hear the click. What did you think about my dad?
My first impressions of him were at age 16. He just looked angry.
Because you were dating his daughter.
Probably, yeah. I remember the way he walked. I mean, it looked like a person in pain.
Do you remember when you'd come over and watch a movie and him sneaking up on us?
He tried to sneak up on us, but it was pretty hard for him because you could hear him shuffling his feet. And I'd whisper, "Don't look now, but we're being watched."
Yeah, I'd go over there and he couldn't move fast enough to get away, so he would act like he had just gotten there.
Right.
I was young when he received the medal, And at the time, I really didn't understand why he was getting it, but I saw a lot. And now as an adult, I think back and my dad really suffered. You know, he was quick to correct you if you said, "How did you win the medal?" He would say, "I didn't win this medal, I earned it."
All right, we've got about a minute left before we have to go to a break. Christopher Kelly is coming on after the break. Christopher is an historian. He worked in the television industry for nearly 20 years as a director and a partner in local television stations in Seattle, Washington, and Sacramento, California. He's written a book called An Adventure in 1914. We've had him on talking about this book before, but it is a true story of an American family's journey through Europe for safe passage back to the United States in the brink of World War I. He wants to talk to us about Memorial Day today and give us information about 4 anniversaries that helped us recall the past while looking ahead, today being one of them. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back with Christopher Kelly.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. In the nation's capital this Memorial Day,
the last Monday in May.
Ceremonies underway at the National World War II Memorial. President Trump will soon lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery, among other events.
More names will be added to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial as part of a Memorial Day observance at the wall. In the afternoon, the National Memorial Day Parade will march down Constitution Avenue.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. Arizona Senator John McCain on Australia for talks with U.S. allies in the Pacific. As for probes into Russia's U.S. election meddling, McCain tells the Australian Broadcasting Corporation that Putin's more of a threat than ISIS.
It's the Russians who tried to destroy the very fundamental of democracy, and that is to change the outcome of an American election.
Russia has denied interfering with the election. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace is your neighborhood place for everything Yeti, from coolers to drinkware. And right now, for the first time ever, Yeti is on sale. During the Ace Memorial Day sale, save 25% on Yeti Rambler stainless steel drinkware. It's virtually indestructible and keeps drinks hot or cold for longer. So hurry into your local Ace and save 25% on Yeti stainless steel drinkware. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only through June 4th. Excludes Duracoat colors and jugs. See participating stores for details.
There are 2 things every parent wants when their child goes to college: for their child to do well and a way to afford it. Now, with Discover Student Loans, parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100% of school-certified costs with 0 fees, but we'll give them a cash reward for each new student loan if they earn at least a 3.0 GPA or equivalent. That means every A in history or B in math could help them earn a cash reward for good grades. Just one of the many ways we treat you like you'd treat you. Apply now in 15 minutes or less at discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
The Ad Council. Today in Florida Ag News on the Southeast AgNet, we start off with our weekly Commissioner Spotlight.
I'm talking with Florida's Commissioner of Agriculture, Adam Putnam. The federal government recently updated its citrus crop forecast for the season to less than 70 million boxes. What does that mean for Florida's signature crop?
The citrus industry has suffered serious setbacks from the spread of citrus greening, a bacterial disease that has infected over half of our orange groves. The most recent forecast for this year's crop represents a 70% decline in the last 20 years. We've dedicated hundreds of millions of dollars, including federal and state resources, as well as contributions from Florida citrus growers themselves, to fight the spread of citrus greening. Through research, we've identified some promising leads, but time is not on our side. We've requested additional resources from the legislature this year to continue this vital research, prevent the spread of disease, and replant the lost tree inventory. With more funding, hard work, and just a little luck, I know that we will save Florida citrus and the over 60,000 jobs this industry supports.
Thank you, Commissioner Putnam. For Commissioner Spotlight, I'm Gary Siemens.
Thanks, Gary. And a fact sheet released by the Senate Ag Committee's ranking Democrat last week highlights the expected impact of President Trump's proposed budget on agriculture. The fact sheet claims that the president is turning his back on rural America. Released by the Senate Democrat Debbie Stabenow's office, the fact sheet says cuts included in the proposal to crop insurance and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, hurts farmers and families. She says other cuts to conservation programs also harm land and water resources. The budget proposal would cut $29 billion from crop insurance while laying off 5,200 Ag Department employees. It would also cut $193 billion from SNAP and eliminate some conservation programs. Now, the fact sheet by Senator Stabenow's office says this budget would make a 5-year farm bill impossible to pass. Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
It's the end of the fiscal year, and that means budget cuts and number crunching. Now's the time of the year you're evaluating your expenses, planning your budget, and finding ways to save money and increase efficiency to maximize profits. Dex Imaging understands and delivers. Call Dex Imaging today for a free document management evaluation. Cutting your office expenses is as easy as calling Dex Imaging, 352-266-0333. Start saving money today and increase your bottom line with Dex Imaging. Printers, copiers, and fax machines that increase office productivity and save you money. No one understands your bottom line better. Call Dex Imaging today, 352-266-0333, or check them out on the web at deximaging.com. That's DEXimaging.com. Or call 352-266-0333 for your free document management evaluation today.
Hey, Dan, what'd you get me for Father's Day?
Well, let's see. I like ham, turkey, roast beef, and especially meat falling off the bone ribs.
Well, I'm not cooking.
Clearly, eating is more your forte. So what do you say we let Honey Baked Ham and Cafe do the cooking? They've got everything we both like.
What's the address? I'll go pick it up.
2709 Southwest 27th Avenue. Right there behind Best Buy. As a matter of fact, they even cater, so I'll make this one step easier by calling 861-0011 right now.
Honey Baked Ham and Cafe in Ocala.
Tell them Dan sent you.
Tell them Joe sent you. Get 10% off. Animas Foundation is the name of the Ocala-based nonprofit sanctuary dedicated to the rescue and rehabilitation of wild and domestic animals. Animas, plainly stated, needs your 100% tax-deductible donation, which will go directly to animal care. This sanctuary is run solely on donations. There are so many questions to answer. Please call 843-6379, and they will explain to you how these creatures that live among us are cared for. Please call 843